We'll start the 16th with a quick peek over here to the west, check up on operations in the American sector. Now from the 7th to the 15th, we have the operations by American First Army depicted on this map. By this point, they have pushed down to this line running from Lacey to St. Lo. And then around St. Lo itself, we have on this map battles running from the 11th through the 18th of July, with U.S. forces advancing on and attempting to capture St. Lo. So starting up here in the bold lines, this would have been the position as of the 10th. Advancing up to the green lines, these are the positions as of the 15th, that would have been yesterday, and then from today through the 18th, advancing up here to the red lines right on the outskirts of St. Lo on these heights overlooking the town. So there's a lot more to come a little later in the month in this sector that we'll have a good look at, but for now, let me go ahead and get set up here and go through the squadron summaries. So 441, in the morning, 2 aircraft were scrambled, but there was nothing to report. In the late evening, 12 aircraft took off on an armed reconnaissance of Thuré, Domfront, Argenton, Falaise area. Visibility was poor, and the squadron was recalled. However, before returning, 1 MET was destroyed. And then 442, up at 0400 hours, the first 3 airborne at 0505, 2 at 650, another 4 at 0825, 0900, 1015, 1110, 1215, 1310, continuing until dark. Warm, dusty day. At noon, Flying Officer Miller ground looped when his undercarriage failed to lock. Flying Officer Campbell landed at 121 wing at night due to fog, dust, and smoke over this field. At 1500 hours, Padre Forbes held a short service in the Marquis attended by several pilots and ground personnel. A former pilot returned to strength when Pilot Officer J. Saborin reported this evening. Busy day and lots of activities seen at the front line, some enemy aircraft in the vicinity, but none encountered. And that was a busy day. Total flying hours 77 for the squadron today. And 443, weather continuing cloudy and cool with light scattered showers, clearing in the late afternoon. Squadron on readiness, but did not take off on any mission until evening, when an armed recce was laid on. All pilots of the wing attended a lecture on intelligence by Wing Commander Johnson, who is the new Wingco Ops at 127 Wing. Flying tactics and routine were discussed. Squadron Adjutant and Echelon Engineer Officer attended a conference at Wing Headquarters, in which the Wing Adjutant outlined the administrative procedures within the Wing. Posting to RCAF R Depot received today for Flight Lieutenant Wilson. Flight Lieutenant Wilson has completed his second tour of operations and leaves tomorrow morning for 13 PTC, where transport to England will be arranged for him. And 13 PTC, I have never run across PTC. In fact, I just paused and looked for some other reference to this unit, and I just couldn't find anything. So it's obviously a unit you can go to arrange transport, probably by boat, down by one of the ports. But that does wrap up the summaries for the squadrons. Now, individual missions, and these start with this large series of patrols by number 442. Let me breeze through these real quick and give you the highlights. So first up, 0505 to 550, and it describes the patrol line as being 3 miles south of Bayo Khan, as I have it depicted here on the map. Uneventful all the way down to 1015, when Flying Officer Miller and Spitfire MK194 crashed on landing, Category AC, but no casualty. So it banged up the aircraft pretty good, but the pilot was okay. 1110, 2 ME-109s were momentarily seen about 12 miles south of Bayo, flying at about 500 feet above the cloud base. One seemed to be carrying bombs or some sort of external projecting cannon. These disappeared in the cloud. And then, uneventful again until 2130, when 4 more get up, uneventful, weather as reported. Flying Officer Campbell landed a B5 strip as fog, haze, and smoke came in over the field. And I have B5 depicted down here, and I'll have a closer look at this in just a second once I get through the rest of the missions here, but there is some good imagery to be had of B5. So next up, and this is later in the evening, 2010 to 2115, 441 up on an armed recce. And this is visibility poor. Fog was closing in at base, so the squadron was recalled before the recce had been completed. Very little movement was seen, but 1 MET was destroyed, Flamer. And as these were landing, 443 was airborne on a patrol, 2120 to 2240. And this is 7 aircraft on high-level patrol, Carpiquet, Bayo area, led by Wing Commander Johnson. Vector to a bogey aircraft east of Caen and south of Cabourg, found to be Thunderbolts and Mustangs, so P-47s and P-51s. No transport attacks, none being found on roads. Intense, accurate, heavy flak encountered south and east of Caen. Heavy sea fog came in over land during the evening, and these are down at 2240. And as they were in the middle of their mission, another 4 get up on a patrol from 443. And this is 4 aircraft took off at 22:15 on a patrol to Carpe Bayo area in wing with 4 aircraft from number 421 Squadron. Flight was called back owing to weather closing in, heavy sea fog, blanketing the area. And that wraps up operations for the day. So we had the 1 aircraft diverting to ALGB5, and this is the home at the time of number 121 Wing, flying Typhoons, who we can see down here in dispersal right next to this orchard and part of the village. So several Typhoons visible, and then 2 smaller aircraft. It could just be the angle. Those could be 2 more Typhoons. In fact, I think they are, but like with the squadrons we've been following, they would have a couple of smaller aircraft, either Ansons or Austers assigned just for general purpose ferrying of personnel and equipment. Now, what else can we see here? Yeah, just down to the south, we have, that's an anti-aircraft gun, probably with a 40mm Bofors cannon in it right there, possibly another one right here. Now, just across the runway, we have another dispersal area, and these are C-47s, 2 of them parked. Just to the north of that, we have what could possibly be the bomb dump. We can see the access roads and what looks like just individual storage cells going sort of around this field, ringed a little bit by roads. It's kind of hard to tell. But just to the north of that, we have another dispersal with these different types of aircraft. I am not sure exactly what these are. Too small, I think, to be Spitfires, or too small for anything else. Possibly, and just possibly, an Oster squadron used for artillery spotting that looks kind of like the outline we're looking at here. And if so, these would have been going up to look for targets around the front lines and then call it into artillery positions. And, well, just like the description sounds, act as artillery spotters. Osters would have acted in that role, as well as early model Mustangs on both the RAF and the Army Air Forces side. And in fact, I think that would be a very, very interesting mission type to fly. We can already do exactly that using combined arms. A lot of people, just to digress a little bit into DCS world for a second, a lot of people really associate the combined arms module with ground forces, driving the tanks and driving the vehicles. But no, its main functionality, as far as I see it, is to spot targets and then from the air, direct other air units or direct artillery to fire on different positions. That could easily be done using the combined arms module. I'll have to think on that a little bit and play around in the mission editor to see what the possibilities are, but yeah, that would be a very, very fun type of mission to fly, I think. Okay, coming across the runway and across the taxiway, we have another area. We have a number of aircraft out here in a field, and this would be a spot to store aircraft that are beyond economic repair, so that if you need a part on short notice, you can just come out here to one of these aircraft and grab whatever you need. Cannibalization is what that's called. It looks like we have... It almost looks like sort of a B-26 type airframe. It would not be uncommon at all for badly shot up aircraft, no matter what the type, to divert to these locations, so there's no telling what you might see here. A couple of these are clearly Typhoons, and some of the smaller aircraft, probably, again, like we've been seeing, some Osters, maybe a couple of Spitfires right there. But that is exactly what that area is, and then coming back around, we're right back to the main dispersal with the Typhoons. And not nearly as many Typhoons as I was expecting to see for a wing-sized operation. It's possible that I just miscategorized these, and these are actually more Typhoons from the same wing, but they sure look like something different. But in either case, yeah, that's a very, very quick cursory look around this airfield. There's bound to be more little things that would pop out at me if I stared at it long enough, but I think that is going to do it for the day. So I'm going to press on to the 17th of July and see what's in store for us there. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.